Well, we spent some time. We got it washed, and I scumbagged him into doing something. Just gonna go ahead and show you guys.
Oh, your neighbors must love you.
Yeah, not so much.
Back here to Wackadoo Garage, what do we got, D? What's going on?
So today we're going to try and do something about this axle that keeps shearing woodruff keys. So this has been a problem that's been ongoing for pretty much the entire time that we've had power in this car. And we've tried a couple of different ways of fixing it, a lot of which were the wrong way, but in this last effort, I ended up actually buying a brand new axle and a brand new hub to attach to it, and that was supposed to fix the problem. That didn't happen. It immediately broke again. So I got in contact with the guys at Classic Driving Developments in the UK who make a racing axle for this application. Was told that it's because the two factory OEM parts that I just purchased from factory were not mating properly. And that it's not the fact that I've almost tripled the horsepower of the car, it's definitely because the flange and the axle aren't mating. So he suggested that I lap them together with lapping compound and then red Loctite the two mating surfaces. I have very little faith that that's going to work, so we're going to weld it for good measure because that got me about a year out of it last time. So we're going to do that for now until I can come up with a better solution. I'm working with a bunch of companies right now to try and get some racing axles that'll actually stand up to the job, but as it sits, I just want to be able to drive my car around. So we're going to do it the wrong way until we can find the right way, but for now it's going to work, hopefully.
Alright, D. That was an adventurous 15 minutes. Where are we at?
Well, that was exciting. So, essentially what we have is this hub is supposed to sit on the middle right there on the end of this axle shaft. And the problem is this woodruff key, which is now flush because it's been completely sheared, would sit in both that groove and the groove here. Can you see that? Mm-hmm. And the only part that's left is that tip right there because it's completely sheared off. So these two mating surfaces, the interior of this and the exterior of this, are supposed to be absolutely perfectly machined to be flawless so they mate with incredible surface tension. That not being the case is an issue. So we're going to use lapping compound to try and take down as much of this damage as possible, pound out the broken woodruff key on both sides, and then we're going to do a quick cheater lap on it. I'm just going to run the car and throw some lapping compound in there and let it kind of eat the inside there, and hopefully that'll give us enough of a mating surface to do what it needs to do, and then we'll try and reassemble the whole thing. But for now, we're going to start with lapping it.
Let's take a look at this. A tiny little chunk of woodruff keys. All that's left. Woo! Got the woodruff key out, knocked out, got the notch nice and clean. Also got it knocked out of the hub itself so it's nice and clear all the way through. And I'll actually give you a shot on what this woodruff key actually looks like. So that's what it's supposed to look like, and well, that's what we pulled out. So this little fix we got going on, what's the story here?
So we're going to try and take the disintegrated woodruff key that is embedded all over that axle shaft tip. We're going to try and work it down. Got 220 and 180 grit and then lapping compound. So we're going to start by knocking off some of the burrs by I'm just going to let the car run so that it's constantly spinning that axle. And then we're going to go ahead and knock back the burrs with the 180 to 220, and then we'll switch to the lapping compound. I'm going to put the hub on there. I mean, I don't know how long it's going to take for it to get to a point where it feels smooth, or if it ever will. Ultimately, I'm going to weld this thing at the end anyways, just so I can drive this thing. But it's a step in the right direction, because the last several times I've had to weld it, we didn't do this part. So it might be enough to hold, highly unlikely, but it's a step in the right direction.
Where are we at? We've been sanding for a good 3 to 5 minutes.
So, A, this is potentially dangerous. You don't want your fingers next to running, moving parts. don't do this at home. This is also not the right way to fix this problem. So don't do anything about what you're seeing. But it was so marred that we actually had to go to the 36 grit to get any type of headway. So we're using 36 grit. It's starting to actually look somewhat smooth. We'll probably run on it for a little longer with this, and then we'll knock it down to the 180 and the 220, and then we'll eventually lap on the hub, which is really nasty in there. So for now, we're just going to keep going like this. It's really slow progress, but it might yield better results. Alright guys, so here's where we're at. We cut to the chase and we've managed to get down to the lapping compound. We've managed to get it as smoothed out as it can go. That side still looking pretty marred, but they ride together quite nicely, so we're going to call that good. And evidently, according to this company that makes race axles, a little bit of red Loctite's all it's going to take to fix this problem. So we're going to put some red Loctite on there, and then we're going to weld to something, and that should do it.
Alright, so where are we at? What do we got going?
So we lapped the hub and the end of the axle. We replaced the keyway. We drove the hub back on. We put the nut back on and Loctited everything as per the instructions of an axle specialist. We're going to go ahead and take this to the 7th level of half-ass, and we are now going to weld the nut and the hub to the end of the axle, because it's not the right way to fix it, but it is the one that's been working, so we're going to do it again. All right, so the last step of our how to do it wrong but almost right, we're going to be using a heat gun to lower the temperature slowly so that it doesn't make the axle made out of extremely cheap British steel any more brittle than it already is. So this is the wrong way to do it, slightly more righter. So we're going to try and do that. We'll leave it there for a while, and hopefully it'll be less brittle than the last 5 times. Just like so.
So D, where are we at? What happened? What do we got?
We made a test lap. We went around the block. We got it into boosts. We actually got it into boosts about 70% throttle from a dig with 2 people in the car, and it didn't break, which is about all I can ask for it, considering we kind of took some shortcuts to try and get it back together, but it's just supposed to last us long enough to get us to some cars and coffees and be able to make it so we can drive the car again until I can come up with a better solution. Like I said, I'm already working with a few companies to try and get race axles for the car, but I'm not comfortable with the ones that I found. I feel like there's going to be a better option, something more robust or at a better price point. So for now, this is going to hold up long enough that I can still enjoy my car, move it around while we work on other projects, and generally keep moving forward. But as of right now, she rolls, we can drive it, it's not broken, and I'm looking for a better solution. So I'm happy.
Awesome. Right on, man. Apparently Loctite's flammable, bud.
You don't need a video of that.
Oh, you can edit it out, remember?
Oh, I can. You're going to save me some time if you don't.